There is a moment every morning, just before you open your eyes, where everything is still possible. Your mind is quiet. Your body is rested. The day has not yet made any demands on you. And in that brief, beautiful window, you are completely free. Then something happens. The phone lights up. A thought rushes in. The weight of the day arrives before the day has even begun. And that feeling, that clean, open possibility, disappears so quickly that most people do not even notice it was there. By the end of this video, you will understand something that most productivity advice completely misses. You will understand why your mornings keep failing you, not because you lack discipline, not because you chose the wrong routine, but because of something far more personal and far more uncomfortable than that. Stay with me, because here is what nobody tells you about morning routines. The problem is not that you wake up too late. The problem is not that you skip the gym or forget to journal or drink coffee before water. Those are symptoms. The real problem runs deeper. It lives inside the story you have been telling yourself about who you are in the morning. And until you confront that story, no routine, no matter how perfectly designed, will ever fully work for you. Most people fail at mornings not from laziness. They fail from a quiet, invisible misunderstanding about what a morning is actually for. Let us go there together. Think about the last time you tried to build a morning routine. You probably started with enthusiasm. You set the alarm earlier. You made a plan the night before. Maybe you even followed it for a day or two. And then something slipped. One morning you were tired. One morning there was an excuse that felt completely reasonable. And slowly, without drama, the routine dissolved. And you told yourself you would try again. Later, when things calmed down, when you felt more ready. This is not a story about willpower. This is a story about identity. Research in behavioral psychology has shown, repeatedly, that human beings do not rise to the level of their goals. They fall to the level of their systems. But even that is not the full truth. Because beneath the system, beneath the habit, beneath the routine, there is always a belief. A belief about what kind of person you are. And if that belief is working against you, no alarm clock in the world will save you. James Clear, in his work on habits, describes identity as the foundation of all lasting change. He writes that every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. But here is what that means in the context of morning. Every morning you hit snooze, you are not just losing an hour. You are casting a vote. You are quietly confirming a story. The story that says, I am not the kind of person who does this. And that story compounds. Slowly, silently, until waking up early does not feel like a choice. It feels like something that other people do. Now here is where it gets interesting. The people who maintain extraordinary morning routines, the ones who seem naturally disciplined, naturally motivated, naturally awake before the sun, they are not fighting their mornings. They are not white-knuckling their way through cold showers and 500-word journals. They have done something different. They have made the morning feel like theirs, like an expression of who they are, not a performance for who they wish they were. This is a subtle but enormous distinction. A morning routine built on performance will always collapse under pressure, because performance requires energy, and energy is finite. But a morning routine built on identity, on the quiet, honest belief that this is simply how I begin, that routine becomes effortless over time. Not easy, effortless. There is a difference. Easy means it requires no effort. Effortless means the effort no longer feels like a cost. Consider how you feel about brushing your teeth. You do not debate it. You do not negotiate with yourself about whether you are in the mood. You simply do it because somewhere along the way it became part of who you are. A non-negotiable. Not because someone forced you, but because you internalized it so deeply that skipping it would feel wrong. That is the target. That is what a truly embedded morning routine feels like. But how do you get there? The answer is not what most people want to hear. because most people want a list. They want 10 steps. They want the perfect sequence of habits arranged in the perfect order. And there is nothing wrong with that. Structure matters. But structure without foundation is just architecture on sand. The foundation is this. You have to decide consciously and deliberately who you want to be in the morning before you ever set an alarm. Not what you want to do, who you want to be. Do you want to be someone who thinks clearly? Someone who moves their body with intention? Someone who enters the day already ahead of it, already grounded, already choosing, rather than simply reacting? If the answer is yes, then the morning becomes the proof of that identity. Every morning you live inside that identity, even imperfectly, is a morning that builds the person you are becoming. Now let us talk about the structure of a morning that actually works. Because ideas without application are just philosophy. The most effective morning routines share three qualities. They are short enough to be sustainable. They are meaningful enough to be motivating. And they begin the night before. That last point surprises people. But consider this. Your morning routine is only as strong as your evening decisions. What time you sleep determines what time you can wake. What you leave unresolved at night determines how cluttered your mind is at dawn. The people who consistently win their mornings are almost always people who consciously end their evenings. They set a boundary between the day and the night, not out of rigidity but out of respect for their future self. There is a concept sometimes called the closing ritual, the simple act of mentally completing the day before bed, writing down tomorrow's priorities, putting the phone away, signaling to your nervous system that the day is done and rest is now the work. This single habit, practiced consistently, can transform the quality of your mornings more than almost any other change. Because when you wake up without residue, without the weight of yesterday still clinging to you, the morning feels different, lighter, more open, more yours. Now, within the morning itself, the research on peak cognitive performance is consistent. The first 90 minutes after waking represent a unique neurological window. Cortisol, your primary alertness hormone, rises sharply in what scientists call the cortisol awakening response. This natural surge is your brain's way of preparing you for the demands of the day. And how you use that window or how you waste it determines the trajectory of the next several hours. Most people immediately flood that window with information. News, social media, email, messages. They hand their freshest, most alert mind to other people's agendas before they have spent even 1 minute on their own. And then they wonder why they feel scattered, why they feel reactive, why they cannot focus by mid-morning. The answer is simple and uncomfortable. You gave away your best hours before you had even decided what mattered to them. Protecting that early window does not require 2 hours of meditation and a 5-mile run. It requires only one thing: delay. Deliberately delay the moment you consume external information. Even by 30 minutes, even by 15. Use that time for something that belongs to you. Thinking, moving, writing, breathing. Anything that is yours before the world claims you. This is not about being antisocial or ignoring responsibilities. It is about the order of things, about meeting yourself first before you meet everyone else's demands. And when you do this consistently, something remarkable happens. You begin the day with a sense of agency, a sense that you are the author of this morning, not the audience. And that feeling, that quiet internal confidence carries forward. It shapes how you handle the first difficult conversation, how you respond to the first setback, how you make decisions under pressure. Discipline, real discipline, is not a muscle you build by forcing yourself through grueling routines. It is a momentum you build by showing up, gently and consistently, and giving yourself something worth showing up for. Here is perhaps the most honest thing that can be said about morning routines. They will not fix your life. They will not resolve deep unhappiness or heal old wounds or guarantee success. What they will do, if practiced with real intention, is give you daily evidence that you are someone who keeps their word to themselves. And that evidence, accumulated slowly over weeks and months and years, changes something fundamental about how you see yourself, about what you believe is possible, about the kind of person you are becoming. Every morning is a small act of self-respect, a quiet declaration that your time and your attention and your energy belong to you first, that you are worth the 15 minutes before the noise begins, that the life you want is worth the inconvenience of beginning before you feel ready. You do not need to be perfect. Perfection is not the point, and it never was. The point is return, the ability to come back, again and again, without shame, without dramatic recommitment, without the need for a fresh start on Monday. Just to come back, quietly, and begin again. That is the discipline that lasts. Not the discipline of force, the discipline of return. And every morning you return, you are building something. Something that cannot be measured on a single day but becomes unmistakable across a lifetime. A version of yourself that is calmer, clearer, more grounded, and more free. That is what a morning routine is really for. Not productivity, not performance, not a checklist completed before 7. It is for you, the quiet you, the one that exists before the roles begin, the one that knows, even on the hardest mornings, that today is still worth beginning. If something in this resonated with you, if you heard something here that shifted even slightly how you think about your mornings or yourself, consider leaving a like. Takes a moment and it means more than you know. And if you want to keep exploring ideas like these, ideas about discipline, focus, identity, and becoming, subscribe to Audiobook Studio. There is more here waiting for you whenever you are ready.